Good afternoon, colleagues, friends from across the India. Welcome all to the sixth session of Life After Lockdown. And just before we started, we were talking about the life we are living now over the webinars. Not a real life. We are living in virtual life. All of us, whether it is doctors or pharmaceutical sales professionals or anybody who is involved in the business or administration also. Many of my friends, they talk about how they are busy in following with their districts, magistrates and other officials. So life is become virtual. Do good to connect you virtually in the sixth session, and we will try to talk here how we can put high touch in the virtual itself. The content CME in Corona is something very simple content, but I think everybody in India or globally rather is overwhelmed with this Corona CME content sort of thing, the webinar, so much of things. So I thought, okay, let us decipher, let us go deeper into, and can we see some relief out of this too much of digital load? I said emotional load in digitally coming to us. Can we do something which is fun way? Can we do something which is valuable at the same time, not giving a stress? So people are talking about death due to webinar. So let us see how it evolves. So by the time people are joining, so let me tell you a disclaimer first. The disclaimer is that all of us who join in this panel as a panelist are going to speak on behalf of ourselves on personal capacity, not representing the company they are working in. So that is the one disclaimer. Another thing is that sometimes because of the low bandwidth, the videos might go off to one among the any of us, but that get resumed automatically. Audio will be always there. In case you have any problem in viewing the session, there is a red button above you to reconnect it. You click the reconnect it became green, and then you will be able to resolve all the issues there. So with this thing, let me talk about the panelists of the day today. We have a very enthusiastic two friends of mine. They are actually friends for a couple of years, rather decades in some cases. We know each other for a pretty long time, but let me focus here in the what they have been doing. Dr. Kapil Rathi is a consulting physician practicing diabeto and cardio uh, with the orientation in Mumbai, and right now he is full-time corona doctor also. Uh, by default, not by design, everybody is actually touched with this corona. I will talk about him a little bit more when we come to the topic related to that. What he has been doing, and how trying to make a difference in the physician's education in the CME part. Rajesh Kumar Singh is a vice president in India for older Clovers, and many of you must be knowing that the up to date, a very lovely platform which he brought to India. It was existing in US, but how it can be used in India, that was a mystery. He solved the mystery, and now I think the all the doctors who are looking for a content, a medical update content in a quick way, they love to use up to date. And there are a couple of more innovation he and his company has brought to India, which he would rather talk. I will not talk here. And I see a lot of people joining and the chat box, so we will be taking the questions as and when it will come. The So keep on putting the questions, and we'll start with Dr. Rathi now. First, you tell about yourself, what you would like to tell to people to know about this, and then my question will be that what got changed in CME part pre and post COVID era. Over to Dr. Rathi, please.
Okay. So at the outset, let me thank Mr. Pranav Kumar. He has been a very dear friend and always been enthusiastic. So I always look up to him for having some kind of this extraordinary seminars. We always try to think, and he's a out of box kind of a thinker guy. So thank you very much for bringing me on this platform. And as he rightly put out, the things have changed. I think they have changed, and I think they have changed for a betterment also. So pre-lockdown, we used to be as a doctor fraternity, and that too a physician fraternity, which we are, and we are supposed to be, the most number of companies or pharma companies used to meet are the physician guys. So physicians were always on the top list of any kind of pharma. And being in Mumbai and being in the area like Andheri, where all the pharma hubs are, so I was able to expose, and I was very close to a lot of pharma people for for helping them out in a lot of activities, academics, and all kind of stuff. So pre-lockdown, it used to be, used to be like seminar used to be like there were almost 4 or 5 seminars a week. Your weekend used to be packed. You used to be, you are in the morning used to be in some CM, in the evening used to be some other CMEs. So there were a lot of academic activity which were going on pre-lockdown also. But since 23rd of March, and after this lockdown, almost now 50-55 days are gone. So now suddenly the gears have shifted, and suddenly there is a change, and probably this change is going to be there for at least another 6 months or a year. So we are not going to see any conferences, we are not going to see any RTMs or any kind of academic forums or any ad boards or something like that. So that is what is the major change. So we have shifted from so-called physical attendance in CME
Yeah.
to a platform where we are going to be more of online kind of things. So what does it mean to me actually, or to a lot of physicians? I can talk on behalf of a lot of other physicians also. Now this knowledge sharing or this kind of programs will be there will be too many of programs out there, because all pharma, all these medical reps and everyone, they are not allowed to meet to doctors, and probably they are not going to meet for another couple of months, at least what I know that. Plus they are not going to be any physical calling, and so it has to be a telephonic call and all this kind of thing. So there is, so only way to get connected with doctor with your products or with whatever a company thinks is basically this kind of platform. So this online or virtual or so-called ECMs. So for this, these people are, they are making a lot of using platforms. Now the problem with is that because the main thing is that now once you are at front line as a warrior for this disease, and we are in typically in Mumbai, in my area, we are seeing so many cases. So it really get exhausted. If you can see currently, you can see the strap mark on my face also, which I wear all these PPs and everything. So they keep on there for at least 3 hours once I remove also. So we are so much of in the
Yeah.
front line, and we are so much of occupied with this kind of thing. And probably we start morning by 10 o'clock, we finish it by 3:30, and then we come back. Evening OPDs are closed as of now, and that will be closed for another 15 days or so, and then we'll start. And then after 4:30, all these webinars and everything, because that is the right time to have this webinar, as we are doing right now also. So the problem is that people are getting, the content is getting diluted. That is the most important part. Plus, there are too many options. So once you give an option to anyone, then he has to choose and pick, and that is where the problem lies. So it will all depend on how much, what is the driving force for you, or what is that, single, that kind of motivation which will make you to click that button of that CME. So that is very important. So I feel, as of now, these webinars, they were appreciated in initial 15-20 days of after lockdown. But last 2-3 weeks, what has happened, because there are too much and there are too many, and there are, it looks so funny. I got an invitation for webinar from a gynec society. I got an webinar invitation from an orthopedic society. Now how I'm supposed to do that? What I'm supposed to do there? So it has to be a specialty specific. It has to be a always has to be, like for example, now this Ramadan is going on. So there will be 100, 10 or 15 different diabetologists from all across the country will be going to speak on how to manage diabetes in Ramadan. Okay, I accept. But then, the same content is repeat again and again and again. So you are, once you hear everything, your guidelines are not going to change in 10 days or 15 days. So once you hear it, you are done for that subject. So that is what is I always urge, or whenever, whatever in my capacity, I can make them, this pharma people realize that don't try to make the same subject again and again. Don't try to, try to extract a lot of time from doctors. They are actually busy at their home also and at their work also. So try to be very specific, try to be very content oriented, try to be case based kind of CMEs where people will like to correlate on the day-to-day cases. Don't be too guidelines, or don't be too theoretical kind of CMEs. And that is what is why I'm actually trying to put a lot of brain thought and all this thing into the pharma. And in fact, probably we are going to see a lot of filtration in CMEs before actually now they will come, because a lot has happened in last 1 month or so. So I think, and the problem is that, or the good part is that it is going to be for another 6 months or year. So you have to set your priorities right now. Otherwise you will get lost, and you will lose, as a pharma will lose their brand value if you don't do this kind of filtration. Otherwise it is going to be, there will be too many things in your plate and you don't know what to and what. So that is my basically the brief take on what is going across in the pharma world, and what they are offering to the doctors, and what doctor feels what they have been bombarded is really meant for them or not. So I think that is my take on that. Over to Mr. Pranav.
So Pranav, I think doctor is still, I think, is stuck somewhere. But I'll just like to add to this because coming in from a organization which is driven by technology and which is driven by content, I completely agree with you. In fact, the relevance of content could not have been more if you look at the current times. So if the content is not relevant for you in your practicing scenario, I don't think it means anything to you. So if the relevance of content becomes so important, and the choice of what content needs to get selected actually should be with you, rather than by the person who's actually coming across and talking to you. So that is such an important point. I don't know if there's an echo coming to you also.
Yeah.
So sorry. I think that's the most important point what we are picking up, and it's not that it is not possible, Dr. Rathi. It is very much possible to have really ensure that what actually is required by the medical professional, only that particular part is given. I'll give you a couple of very interesting examples. I was speaking to a couple of people in the Critical Care Society last week, and when I was talking to them on COVID, so the discussion actually started to happen on airway management. So he said, because airway management here, he said, I know airway management is very, very fundamental for me. But now in a COVID scenario, now when you are inserting a tube or you are doing an airway management, your exposure to that particular environment. What are the precautions you need to take when you are doing an airway management? So we will like to know more about it. Rather than trying to give me basics of airway management, but rather than that, if you go and change and talk about how do you really manage airways during the COVID time, what kind of exposure you need, what kind of precautions you need to take. So I think the context is so important that you need the pharma organization or any other organization which is providing CME should understand. And that's the crux. That's the way you are arousing interest, and that's what you said very, very clearly. That you need to the switch on button, because in a CME, in a physical CME, you are forced to sit there. But here, in a digital CME environment, you have the button in your hand. You can choose to switch off. If the content is not relevant, then obviously you get pushed off and you switch it off straight away. I think very relevant. The few of the other things which I want to really talk about, Dr. Rathi and Pranav, is the whole definition of continuous medical education. See, continuous medical education is a misnomer, if you ask me, especially in India. The way continuous medical education is perceived here and the way continuous medical education is actually perceived outside the country is very different. So outside the country, if a doctor is reading an article on online, say on a AHA platform, that's considered as a continuous medical education. He reads the article and he actually gets CME points on that. Here, if Dr. Rathi spends 10 hours of studying say BMJ, he will really not get any CME points, and he may be really doing a very relevant search, and he's keeping himself updated on a particular topic of his interest. So I think that's a very important point which needs to change in the country in terms of how CME becomes relevant and how digitally doctors who are attending any kind of not these webinars but the whole when their attempt to educate themselves, that particular part is you should have an accreditation of that, and those points should be considered as a CME point for the medical doctors. So that's a kind of regulatory workaround has to happen. I don't know who goes to MCI and who tells them, but at least we have started that discussion at our level, and we are trying to tell them that okay, it's very, very important to change your regulations. Second, medical education. Once again, if I want to stick to this particular topic, and what we are finding slightly ahead, slightly different than what is happening in pharma. If you look at the new scenario, the new libraries, what is going to happen, doctor? So the new libraries will not have footfalls. The new libraries, people will not be willing to pick up books who is perhaps touched by a patient. So the reason for why people want to go to library, the libraries will become virtual. No medical college is ready right now. Even the medical colleges like AIIMS, which has got a very specific selected digital library section, they are not equipped right now. So the virtual libraries which has to get created. So medical education has to be fully understood by the whole community, medical teaching, the CME providers, the people who are in the regulations. So it has to be addressed holistically. Otherwise, it will be bombardment of irrelevant content, over bombardment of content which is not relevant to you, and then it will create more confusion and more fatigue. And as Pranav was saying, that the new sweet dish of called as death by webinar will be more and more prominently eaten by everyone every day.
Thank you, RK. I see Professor Vivek has joined, and he responded that also the very good reception and clarity of sound. Professor Vivek was the first in the first panel when we started 1.5 months back. He was there in the panel, so I always thank him because he was the first person to whom I discussed this idea of doing webinar. And now we are talking about death by webinar, but that's a different story. Thank you, Vivek, and I have here Raja Reddy also. He was in panel last week. Last week we have a very good session with patient experience. I pause here, and I would like to get opinion from our participants, professionals also. We are talking about CME, and a larger chunk of money of the promotional budget of a pharmaceutical company is actually allocated to CME. And of course, pharmaceutical companies, they are also looking for the ROI out of that. So just wanted to have a feel about how much percentage, as per your information, your knowledge, or your company is putting of the marketing promotional budget for any kind of CME, just to get an idea about how things are there. So once people respond fully, in next 10 seconds, we will publish that result to everybody. Okay, so I have a very, very diverse result here. 66% says that 0 to 5%, and other 20 to 30% budget is allocated maybe in the company who are more scientifically oriented. There is a clear divide we can see here. The last bunch of companies spend maximum 5%, while another bunch of companies spend as high as 30% of their marketing plan, marketing budgets to CME. That's good to note that. So let's come back to here. We talked about different scenario now changed here as far as physicians medical update is concerned. Let me pause and take the comments from Raja Reddy. Raja writes that because SARS did change consumption pattern, but that did not last after the pandemic. Okay, so this comments is based on the webinar. Did SARS in the South Korea change use the medical libraries? Okay, so I agree. This will never go back. Will probably go back to the physical CMEs and will get relief from the bombardment of so many webinars. That's a good part of that. But I also see that after the everything gets settled, the digital adoption will be much higher than what it was pre-COVID. So the extra load will get definitely relieved, but we will have still a better experience of digital for more people than what we had currently or what we had earlier before the corona. So that's my point of view. And
Doctor, yeah, I want to add to this because this is a very important question. That does the whole community go back to normal? So what I'm hearing, at least, and Dr. Ati, you are a medical doctor, you can comment on that. What I'm hearing, is COVID-19 is not going to go, and that's what it's like. It's going to stay in the human race like an AIDS virus. It's not going to go back, and the way you are able to avoid a scenario of this kind is only by precautions. And that's what I know. There's no confirmation on that, but there are a lot of reports coming up that this virus is not going to go off. It's going to stay in the community, perhaps in the body, and the only way you are able to do is prevention. And when you do prevention, and the biggest prevention is contact, and that's what is coming across multiple times. That and contact comes across you social distancing. You talk about not gathering at large gatherings. So this is going to stay. This is not going to go out and back to normal, say in 6 months. Because what we are hearing in China, what we are hearing from anywhere else, it is not changing. People are now getting into social distancing, and they are far more evolved digital economies. Incidentally, I was in the Tencent headquarters last year in January, and the kind of digitalization China has gone into, we are perhaps 1 decade behind them. So perhaps what is the global economy, global world, I don't know how much it will change, but India, I think it will be hugely impacted. That's my personal view, but that's what I see. Dr. Ati, feel free to comment on the nature of COVID, but that's what we see, what's actually happening globally.
No, I think I echo with what you say. This is going to be norm. So virus is going to stay here like your swine virus or any other virus. So the problem is that this till the time we don't get any so-called confirmative treatment kind of thing or a vaccine for that matter. So if we get a vaccine, if we are vaccinated, and I don't know how much time it will take to vaccinate whole of the world. So that is going to be a big task. So vaccine is no near say around 9 months to a year. So vaccine will take another 6 months to 9 months. So 9 months are gone. There is no definitive treatment. That is another thing. Plus, what is happening is that again, we are going to see rains coming up, monsoon coming, winter coming up. So that is also not going to help us to actually eradicate virus to that much of extent. Plus, I told you there are a lot of asymptomatic cases. So
Yeah.
this social distancing, physical distancing, this fear of going, this fear of climbing or or boarding a flight or going into some kind of so this is going to be there for everyone, not for doctors, for organizers also, for that matter, for anyone also. So I think the way forward is going to be this kind of platform. This is going to be there. The only thing is that how do you choose it rightly and how do you cater it? That is very important. I think too much of things will spoil the things. But yes, I think we and I think this is a welcome change for all of us, because we were so, and especially Indian doctors were so happy to to roam around, to go around, to attend kind of CMEs, so they used to have fun and all other things. But I think the time has come where we need to prioritize what has to be done and what not to be done. So it will be more of in scenario which all lot of other country follows, except
Yeah.
in India. Indian pharma market is a absolutely different market as compared to any other pharma market. So I think this change is going to be there. We all doctor have realized, not at allopath level, at every level. You go to a village, you go to a taluka, or you go to a jilla, it is going to be there. So I think we have to make use of our resources very properly, and the way forward is going to be this kind of CME, or this kind of platform to upgrade your knowledge. So I think a lot of people like you, Volta Kluas, and all other things. So they have got a big role to play in coming days to actually formulate this kind of knowledge serving kind of protocols in the future.
So one of
Good.
the key things, what is happening, Doctor, one of the key limitations, what we found that what is happening, especially in the Indian context, a lot of content which is very evolved did not have the Indian perspective, and that's what one of the key limitations which was coming across, and that's what we have realized, and that's what we are talking now to global to global setup that. But there are a lot of diseases which are pandemic to India. There are a lot of conditions, the kind of content what we produce, the kind of knowledge base what we have, it is not finding the relevant space in the global content. And now I think that's the best part. What the world is realizing, that if you really want to influence the Indian community, you need to have the content, not Indianize the content. I think I'm not talking about that, but add Indian content, add Indian context to the
Yeah,
global content. So I think that's the limitation which the global companies have realized, and they are now coming up to the speed. And you will find in the next 3 to 4 months' time, a lot of global textbooks, Doctor. You will find that perhaps Moore or the ones which you would have studied, you will find the adaptations coming in, wherein the Indian perspective would have been covered, and so that's the interesting part, which will really push the medical education effort in the country.
So what
yeah, yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
what I see, RK, you are right. What I see here in India is that somehow that maturity has not come. Why so much of pressure? If you see the kind of CME is prevailing right now in India, is a more focused to the products. Their own product. They are trying to put their molecule somehow, right? Putting their molecule is something brand managers feel great about that, and they don't bother about what is the need of the clinicians, what the physician. I don't know, Dr. Rati will be able to tell how many pharmaceutical brand managers, product managers come to you or ask you, sir, what is the requirement, what should be the content of the CME, whether they do any study to really evaluate, know, assess the CME need. They plan around their brand, their product, and just bombard whatever. Webinar is the platform, but before that also, even the social CME, on the spot CME, the content is something which need to grow, which need to improve upon. So let me pause here and ask a questions from the audience. This poll, because I would like to put virtually their contribution here. The kind of CME you see, which type of CME is prevailing as per your visibility? Is it the product focused CME, or the disease focused CME, or the doctor's specific meeting their need, their professional need CME?
Very interesting question, Pranav.
I got my answer there.
So it is an
I think
opinion, may not be 100% perfect, but the thing is that I don't know what Dr. Rathi guessed, but the doctor focus or professionals focus CME is not being done. Only 14% people said here. What is your comment here, Dr. Rathi?
no. I totally disagree. In fact, I see, and I let it put me straightforward. A lot of doctor are influencing pharma to get CME done for themselves. So that is how what is happening. So they say, these are, there are some big bosses in the industry, whether it is pharma or doctor or anything. So they are quite influential. So what they do, they'll ask pharma कि यार चलो अपने को एक webinar करने का है, and this is how they will. So they are not worried about how, what are the audiences, whether it is hit or whether it is fraud, whether it is to the context or not. Like I told you, this COVID era, and I got invitation from an orthopedic, I got an invitation from an gynec. Come on, yeah, what I'm supposed to do there? I'm supposed to treat my COVID patients. I'm supposed to, control sugars of my patient and BP of my patient. So this is how it is. So the point is that because now this media is easily available, all your data is easily available, all doctors are on your fingertips, so just shoot out the message to everyone so that whosoever is interested. So this is something, blinding your eyes and just something going to hit in the dark. So that is not going to be the case. Plus I like the point what Mr. Arke has made, as that after this COVID and after this is going to get digitalization, what is going to happen, what I see a positive change is that now a lot of Indian doctors are respected as far as their clinical acumen is concerned. One, globally. Number two, we are going to have a lot of Indian data which is now going to get published, and we all as a doctor who are actually bad, they're bad in their housekeeping, they are bad in keeping their records and everything. Now they are going to keep all the records. Now they are going to get published in a lot of all prestigious journal. So now India will have a stamp authority on the world scenario, at least as far as data, at least as far as their their cases are concerned. So you see a lot of publication, lot of new publications, a lot of trials which are going to happen, which India is going to be the part of that, because now a lot of telemedicine has come up. A lot of people are now they somehow they are learned in last 50 days how to handle all your stuff and everything. So now they are capable of maintaining records, and I think India will give a lot of records and lot of data to the world as far as disease is concerned. So that positive is something which I'll take from this kind of COVID era and maybe use of technology. So that is what is my take on this.
I think very beautifully said. And one thing I would like to put in the knowledge of people, many people may be knowing that whatever the CME content or medical journal content you see globally available, a large portion is now getting created in India. Novartis have their huge office in here in Hyderabad. I see Indigen in Bangalore. There are many companies, all the top CME content creator company. They have offices, actually back office, I would say, in India, and they make content for multinational company in US and Europe. So as far talent is concerned, whether it is the writing the content for CME or it is the medical clinical cases, what Dr. Rati was saying, and the research, the quality of mind is anyway, the medical mind is appreciated globally. 25% doctors in US is Indian, right? So that is not the issue. The problem is that I think somewhere the people who influence the policy, the leaders in the pharmaceutical company, the brand managers who actually need to understand the difference between product-centric CME and therapy-centric CME. Actually, in my conversation with product managers, nobody says that they are making product-centric content. They are always saying that, no, we are patient-centric, we are doing for the disease management. So the problem is that, rightly pointed out by Professor Vivek here, he's writing that these are not CME, these are the brand promotion. Actually, it's right. So somehow we need to guide the brand managers. The leaders should take charge to really understand the landscape of the CME, understand the what is needed at this time, not just a thing going behind the brand or molecule.
So I'll give an example, Pranav, just to add to your point, because I think I never wanted to talk about the brand in this meeting, but I'm forced to. 5 years, because I want to break this myth. This is a big misnomer that unless you have a brand, the product is not, the whole product is not picked up by the doctor. I'll give you an example of up to date what you were talking. So 5 years, 6 years back, and it's a very short period when we actually bought this product, and up to date does not have any brand. So it is one of the most balanced. It is non-sponsored. There is no advertisement globally. There's nothing at all. So there were hardly 600 doctors in the country when this product came into India, was being used 5-6 years back. Today, it's more than 50,000 doctors today who are using in the country across hospitals, across medical colleges, across what are sponsored by pharma. So the point what I'm trying to put it was, if the brand was so strong, so then a product like Upgrade would not have even flourished in this country, because a major chunk is sponsored by pharma. Because the pharma will not sponsor a product which is not liked by the doctor, and it has been sponsored continuously. Every year it gets renewed, and it is not a cheap product. It's a pretty expensive product from the pharma standpoint. So the point that if the content is relevant, if it is at the point of care, if it is, and it's a medical education, it's hardcore medical education, and if it is given to the doctors, there is no reason for why doctors will not like it. If you put your brand on top of it, on bottom of it, it is not, and it doesn't have a powerful content. It is not relevant for the doctor. It is not at the point of care. You do whatever it, doctors will not like it. There won't be any repeat value. So 5 years, if you get a product renewed every time, perhaps again and again, that means the product is liked by it. So I just want to break that myth. And I'm standing here. I'm from the pharmaceutical industry. I was after my 30 years, 25 years I've been into technology, into healthcare and in pharma. Last 6 years I'm in the technology industry. But I can see this difference, and I can see when I'm on the other side of the table, sitting along with doctors and I'm trying to understand. And that's what comes across, that it is the relevance, it is the context, it is the how well it is cooked for the needs. That becomes important. That is medical education, and rather than bombarding them with the content which is not relevant to them or not cooked properly. So that's my point of view, Pranav.
What I was talking about, one aspect is that using the standard globally accredited CME content, right? There is another way, because India, as Dr. Rathi was also saying that a lot of things happens in India by doctors, research, and the clinical practice is so varied in India. Nowhere in the world you will get that. The pharmaceutical companies should also focus on generating the content based on the Indian practice, based for the Indian doctors, and that need a little extra effort, but I can promise you that will give you an additional response also. I think Dr. Rathi, I know him, he has been moderating a unique case based program which we developed 5-6 years back, and this was a unique based on a totally different platform, totally different thought process based on the design thinking methodology, and he has conducted 13 program. So Dr. Rathi, how it was different compared to the usual CME? Can you put some light on that?
Yeah. So I think, again, going back to the same notion what I was telling about, you have to be for the doctor, by the doctor. So I think that is very important. So the problem is that with all this pharma and MNCs, that some of these guys, they sit in the AC room, they think something, and they give it order to their the guys who are there below them, and these guys make something and they dish out to the doctors. The problem is that whatever they think, they are not thinking clinically. What they think more of, they've got a very straight vision. They don't think in a broader vision. So if you involve a doctor in making of a program, then it will be like a grassroots kind of a program which will be appreciated by doctor. And that is what exactly has happened with the program what Mr. Pranav Kumar was talking about. So we all like-minded people, 10 or 12 people sit down, and we try to give that flavor to the to the attendees, that they are seeing patient in front of them. And that is what is I want. So if I see a patient in front of me, and if I have that protocol, or if I have that the flow chart going, how to go about this, that makes me more wiser, that makes my patient more feel better, and I can diagnose more betterly, and I can treat them more betterly. So that is what is I always ask. And in fact, there are only couple, I can name it on my fingertip. There are only few companies who will go into this kind of move. But I think the time has now changed. So I always wonder why these people are calling, ISPs, international speaker program. They are calling there. They will come and they will show I have treated 500 diabetes patients. Come on, I have treated 1,000 patients in a month. So I have got I got more. Only thing is that we're not good in writing. We're not good in writing a paper or creating that p values and odd ratios and everything. So if we can do that, so I always ask my pharma company to make a program which will make doctor, they will develop a total personality of a doctor, not as a clinician, but as a good writer also, as a good reader also, plus as a good orator also. So all these things has to be there in a doctor, because if you want to make a mark on the world, it has to be, our Indian doctors, or for that matter, all of us have to step up. So we pharma to do this kind of, fine tuning and everything. So rather by going by, the big names or ISPs and everything, I think clinical oriented program, case based program, the program which can be understood by a people who has got no resources, who is sitting in the remote village and can diagnose a diabetes patient is not restricted to Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad. They are everywhere. So I want my all doctors who are working in a capacity of say 1,000 people also in a village of 1,000, they should also know what is happening right now. So I think dissemination is very important. How you disseminate, how you make practical things happen, how you do a limited resources kind of things where you can treat in a better way. I think that is what is wanted in this era and in this country like India, because we, as Pranav Kumar has said, we have got wide variation. Whether it is our food, our culture, our clothes, everything, so is our medicine. I think a lot of people have their own notions. So I think we have to be uniform, at least as far as the medical content is concerned. So that is what is demanded from pharma.
We have a question here, but let me extend what Dr. Rathi has told, and then we come to to Rajesh here. So the question here, which is provoking to me, is that from Umesh. Umesh is asking, if not brand promotion come, how Medicure upcoming company can survive? Okay, so the question is that in CME, if the brand is not getting promoted, how the company will get benefited? This is what I understood. Let me address this. Though one of my friend Devdutt has already responded in the chat box to Umesh. It is very a strategic thing, and what Dr. Rathi was talking about, that we debated and we took a strategic position there. A strategic position that time 6 years back was that we have chosen patient centricity over the product promotion. There was a debate. One of my marketing managers said also the same thing. He said that if there is no molecule, no brand of my company, why should I do that CME and put so much of money there? The thing is that once you care your customers, which doctor in this case, help him to improve upon his capacity to diagnose and manage the patient. Do you think that he's so insensitive will not repay you back? If he manage the patient more effectively, to meet that, he require your medication, he require a drug, and the natural tendency is that he will prefer the company's drug who has enabled them to manage the patient more effectively. So customer centricity, improving the intimacy is the key. This was the response of Umesh. I'm not going deeper into that.
I'll respond from a marketer standpoint, the dilemma, and I just want to respond quickly on this. So nowadays, this particular point is going across in the television. Everybody is talking about hand hygiene, and all the brands practically from beauty soaps also have converted into hand hygiene. But if the one which you remember very strongly is that rhythm which is being played by Dettol, and they are talking about that 20 seconds of hand wash, and they are insisting. They are not even saying that you should use Dettol to hand wash. They are saying wash your hands. Wash your hands irrespective of which soap you use. So wash your hands. I think that goes very strongly. It is a subconscious mind which picks up these messages more strongly. So Pranav, you are saying so aptly, with the subconscious mind of a medical doctor, if you do something which is relevant for him, which is relevant for his practice, which is relevant to improve the quality of patient care, is able to improve the patient outcomes, then it is a subconscious mind which gives you support. It's so for me. I don't remember any of the other advertisement, but I remember that very, very strongly, and many of people like me will remember that. Okay, it is the whole game of advertisement on the marketer is how you are able to touch the subconscious mind. And anybody who is doing who is an expert in marketing, perhaps he will talk about he can talk about more. But that's where my answer to the young marketers who are coming in. So all your marketing strategies is to be to how can you reach out to the subconscious mind. We used to call it in the early days कि pen पे लेके आना डॉक्टर के. तो pen पे तभी आता है. Pen पे it comes only when it goes to the subconscious mind.
True.
Perfect.
So I will just inform the Umesh and audience is that Rajesh was also a brand manager. He was 15 year back, 20 year back. He was a brand manager. He was marketing manager. He was also promoting the brand, and he grown from there. So you can believe what he is saying that, right, with 100% guarantee. Now coming back again, the question of the Indian, the fanciful thing of ISP. Somehow I observed also that in India people thought Gori Chamdi, the white people coming to speaker in India, is a big thing, and that is a exciting thing to do, the best thing to do that. But we're talking since 10-20 minutes that the variety of the clinical experience which Indian doctors has, no other country doctors has. Only thing is that if pharmaceutical company help them to put those clinical experiences into a right format of medical education, possibly our content will be much better than any other country's big ISP doctor speaking to India. This is first thing. Second thing, I'm not against the ISP. You saw that last week also I brought one international speaker in this forum as well. My point is that the most important aspect or the thing of CME is the audience for whom you are designing. You are making content, you are putting money of your company to get benefited first to clinician, eventually to patient, and ultimately to you as a company also. If you think all three aspects, three beneficiaries, and you understand the customer, the doctor much deeper, their clinical challenges, and yet you develop the content of CME based, there are so many methodology now available based on those. For your audience, who's your customer, your doctors, who's going to write for you, believe me, you will not only able to promote your brand more effectively, get more business, but the most important aspect is that you will be impacting huge number of lives in India by improving the patient care. If doctor is trained to be a more skilled doctor in diagnosing and managing the patient, ultimately patient will get benefited, and the medical practice itself is go in a higher standard what it is today, and will be regarded by the multinational company. Possibly in that time the Indian doctor will be invited more in Western country than what it was so far. It is so far. So Devdutt, emotional appeal, our rule, the rational benefit, 100% agree, Devdutt, it is there. Vivek is writing about CRM. Yes, that is exactly CRM. CRM is not the transactional, what you give to the doctor, what he write to you. CRM is actually helping doctors to rise in the value chain, going from one level of capacity to the next level. And that making him grow will make you grow too. Come back to Rajesh here. Rajesh, how you see the scenario of CME? I'm saying CME in a broad term. It is not exactly on the spot program CME, rather different platform, digital platform, or any platform which could be evolving now, is shaping up in next 3-year time.
So I want to really break this up into three parts. I was thinking about it while you were talking. So if you look at the journey of a medical doctor, the moment he gets inside the medical school, from there till he starts to practice, he actually, if you look at the three phases of it, one is what is the learning phase. One is when he gets inside educational research, when he does his PG and when he does his doctorate, and then when he practices that. And actually, if you ask me, the CME can be done in all three parts. And the medical education takes a different size and shape, but medical education becomes relevant in each part. I'll give you a couple of examples to elaborate on that. And I'm talking about digital medical education now. I'm not talking about the physical medical education part. You know, one of the biggest problems of the country is cadavers, and you know that getting a cadaver in a private hospital, private medical college, is practically impossible. 1:50, 1:75 ratio is there on one cadaver to a patient, cadaver to a doctor. So not getting a fancy three-dimensional digital table which can which is perhaps 1.5 crores in value, not that, but there are multiple cadaver simulated applications which actually can help the young medical doctor really dissect the patient virtually, look at what actually is happening, and he's able to relate. So medical education, now you are able to digitally connect to students at that particular time. Going into research, one of very interesting phenomena, I don't want to name the institution, a premium institution that just yesterday, we were having a webinar with them, and not death by webinar, but a webinar interestingly. And the topic was basically writing a research paper. The whole topic was on how do you really write a research paper, and how do you really answer the questions and how to write a research paper which can be published. You will be surprised, Pranav. It was 1 week's notice, and the medical college is closed right now. It is the topmost institution of the country. We had more than 250 doctors and students of that medical college, because the scope was only of that medical college, to attend that. And the question answer session was almost 45 minutes. So people who are students, who are faculty, were interested to understand, how do I write a research paper? How do I get it published? Because it is that these terms are very easy, because I'm from the publishing industry also. I understand the complications of publishing, how there is a plagiary, there is a lot of part. And when the doctor is writing and somebody is able to help him out to do his research, to help him publish, that is medical education. There are a lot of platforms which are available for doing it. So can the pharma company get inside that and say, okay, doctor, you are interested for research. Can I help you out? Can I really help you to collate your data? Can I help you help you to publish? So it is not about sponsoring a publication, but getting inside and telling him, educating him on that. And when it comes to practice, then it becomes relevance. And you know, differential diagnosis is what Dr. Rathi talked about so well. The problem is that a chill, how do you differentiate between a chill which is from a urinary tract infection versus a dengue? The chill is a chill, and a doctor sitting in a deep interior of Bihar, how will he differentiate that? How will the medical education reach to that level that he is able to differentiate between a chill which is because of a UTI versus a chill because of a dengue fever? So there are, and interestingly, it is not that the products are not there. There are platforms which are there. There are AI-based platforms. There are products which are coming across which are using machine learning to get to that. So there is a very, very beautiful product which is under development, which I want to talk about. This product basically helps the postgraduate students prepare for USMLE. It is AI based, and it picks up it actually shoots the content depending upon level of your knowledge. So if you want to appear for an exam and you are at level A, it will pick up content and it will shoot you only those questions which are relevant for you. Whereas if you are level C or level D, so it will change it. So they are AI based programs. So we have to look at as an industry, that how can we really help the doctors in these various stages: learning, education, research, practice, and then make the CME relevant for them, make the content relevant for them. Then I think the marketeers will always find they are touching the emotional chord, because you are touching the need and the patient part. So patient and what you did, Pranav, perhaps a couple of years back, keeping patient into the central part, keeping the paramedics. Look at the paramedics today. Look at the nursing staff today. A Dr. Rathi who's in a hospital, he will be dependent upon so much on the nursing staff. And I know I've worked very closely with them. They are one of the most deprived community today. Can the industry pick that up? Because hospitals really don't spend money on nurses education. Can the industry get inside and can they support the nursing education? That's a huge thing what the industry can do towards building that. Not only it will affect, it will give them the right kind of ROI, but it will also affect, they will be doing a huge amount of service to the country.
True. So Rajesh, actually, you have divided actually without telling that rather enlarge the scope of the CME. There is a new term which is now published and getting used instead of CME in the European countries and US. It's called CPD. So CPD actually has a two branch. One branch is about the clinical. So clinical, what Dr. Rathi was talking about, improving the diagnosis and management is clinical part of that. That is a skill learning, not just mugging and knowing and remembering the guidelines and data. Second is what Rajesh was talking about, medical writing sort of things. So NHS has given a guidelines, total framework of CPD, which encompasses so many things, including medical ethics, personal life, work-life balance, and clinical trial. So much thing, very comprehensive framework they have made it. Not only that, NHS also have a CPD portfolio where a doctors set his goal, record his activities, and getting recertified every 5 years based on that CPD portfolio. I think India is sooner or later, maybe faster now, is moving towards that. Technology enables you to that, and maybe we need to adopt that from CME to CPD, new phase of education for healthcare professionals. And pharmaceutical companies should come there with open heart, not with the marketing myopic vision, rather the broader healthcare or patient care vision, and contribute into this education. And I'm sure they will get repaid by the support from the physician. Now we have 2 minutes time, so I would like to request all of both of you, Dr. Rathi and Rajesh, to give your final message to the pharmaceutical industry brand managers and the leaders as far as CME is concerned. Your voice is not audible.
Yeah. So now you can hear me?
Yes.
So my only request, rather than request, my only urge is that you don't worry about your product. Number one thing, product is going to be taken care by. Anyways, doctor are writing something, and they will not betray you just because you're not meeting them for 2 months. So don't worry about that. If you are good in your product, if you are good as a human, if you are good before lockdown, you will be good after lockdown also. So don't worry about that. So product is been taken care, so nothing to worry. Two, you have to go with the flow. So don't just go opposite the flow. So what is going as of now, you have to be with the flow. So if doctor says no, then it is no for you also and for any other also. So don't just try to impose your thoughts, or don't try to be too practical or too cozy with this kind of thing. So that is very important, because these are testing times. So that is very important. Three is that whenever you design a program, whenever you design a CME or webinar or whatever you are, or anything, just try to take whatever target audience what you are targeting into the confidence before forming a program, so that at least it appeals to you, it appeals to a lot of people. There is no point in having a program with 20-30 audience and you are creating so much of fuzz and everything. So I think these are 3-4 points, and as I there are 2-3 points which Mr. RK has made very rightly, and in fact we are doing on that. One is paramedical nursing, that is very important. In fact, I've roped in 2 pharma company which are training my. In fact, I am on the panel of that. We are giving training to the nursing sisters, and we are making them capable of maybe a diabetic nurse, maybe a critical care nurse, maybe and we are certifying them so that there is some value to that, and they will be recognized as for their work. Two, you have to as a pharma, you need to pin on, or you need to target young doctors who are just maybe on the verge of becoming an super specialist or graduate who are going to be there for another 20-30 years with pharma companies. So try to invest on that kind of doctor doing some kind of activity, or maybe having some module where they can be feel comfortable, like calling at any time for any kind of help. Third is very important, is to have a patient centric approach, in the sense that we should have some programs where the program is only meant for patients by a pharma through a doctor, so that patient get benefited in total. So I think these are 3-4 points where I think a lot of companies are working. But I think in this era where all your money is going to save by you're not sponsoring any conference, you're not sponsoring any kind of travels and all big international conference. So all money what has been saved, try to utilize in this proper channel, so that at least like what Modi ji said, na, Atmanirbhar. So you have to be Atmanirbhar, and we have to be Atmanirbhar on Indian people, by Indian, for Indian. So that is my take on this.
Rajesh, please.
Yeah, thank you, Pranav. I think it's a very important point that while we are trying to look at what is going to change for the doctors, we also need to understand what is going to change for us. So we will need to understand that what is the COVID is here to stay. I'm a firm believer, and I think mentally all of us should prepare for that. So if you are thinking that our reps will be able to go back in the same capacity, same numbers with the doctors, I think let's forget about it. It's not going to happen. But our doctors also will not be comfortable shaking hands with the reps, at least for the 1 year or maybe more than that. So we will need to look at alternatives. The alternatives can be multiples. One is digital, and there are multiple ways to look at. Second is we have to be relevant, either relevant to the doctor, either relevant to the doctor's patient. There is no third thing. So if you are relevant to either the doctor or the doctor's patient, there is no way doctor can ignore your message. So the doctor will be pulled towards you if you are relevant for that. And that's my experience also, what I've seen in my all the whatever you expect. If you are relevant and if you are very clear on your messaging, there is no reason for why things will not move.
Thank you, Rajesh. And we conclude this webinar with comments from Professor Vivek. He writes that this one is the best webinar I have attended, and I know he has been a panel of webinar almost every day, and so many panel attending so many webinar also. This is a big compliment to Dr. Rathi and Rajesh for making this one of the best webinar. Thank you very much. The video recording of this will be shared to 560 subscriber who subscribe this series life after lockdown. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.